frustrated, pissed off, angry, annoyed, and tired. It was Friday afternoon, the last task of the day, and the worst one that I, of course, left till the end of the week. I was trying to deal with service problems from a company I had just ordered products from. I solicited my husband to be my on-hold double while I frantically and in desperation tweeted the company I found online. While my husband sat in phone purgatory, my iPhone rang in response to a tweet within 2 minutes. An amazing person from the company solved my issue and raised my opinion of the company instantly. A brand is the sum total of all the interactions we have with it. This interaction was great, even though it started terribly, and it raised my opinion of the brand. Over the years, I've worked for several nameless, faceless, large corporations. Brands that when you had a problem, you called an IVR. Those crazy phone systems, press 1, press 2. I often think, and I created some, that they've been created only to hope the customer would get so angry and frustrated they would hang up. Often you don't reach a person within the first try or even the first 15 minutes. Customers always complain, but no one does anything. To these companies, a brand is about slick TV campaigns suggesting their products would improve your life. But all the other touch points, like the phone system and customer care, are unpleasant. When I bought the company I now own, Help We've Got Kids, 2.5 years ago, I remembered how it felt to be a consumer of those nameless, faceless brands, and I vowed not to make that mistake. But I didn't know how to personalize or humanize the brand I purchased. It was very well established. It's now 18 years old, so about 16 years old when I bought it. Essentially, we're a directory. We publish a directory online and in print, and it's a resource for parents to find services and activities for their children. And because it's so well established and thorough, it's a directory that touches parents' lives every day. The previous owners used to write a nice letter to their readers, and that was it. They wouldn't talk to the customers for the rest of the year, except sometimes in an email newsletter. I felt, when I purchased the brand, that it had huge potential. It was already an integral part of parents' lives, and I wanted to be part of the dialogue on issues of relevance to parents, but it made no sense for me for that dialogue to be with the brand. This brand needed a voice, it needed a values, and it needed a face. We needed a person to represent our brand and move it beyond becoming beyond a faceless directory and towards becoming a trusted voice and a place parents could share and discover. It needed to be a person, because it was going to be talking to real people every day. Instead of being another branded media outlet, I knew I could be different and more relevant by being that person, by being me. The ideal place for this outlet was obviously online. I actually did have a Facebook account and never used it. I did know that there were lots of people who did, and I think there's a statistic that 93% of online moms use Facebook. I knew I needed to start there, obviously, but I knew that alone wasn't enough, and my partner convinced me to launch LinkedIn and Twitter accounts, and eventually I began experimenting with all kinds of social media outlets, Google+, Dig, etc. But we wanted to keep our product clean and neutral and not review each entry. What we wanted to do was create a product and a dialogue that was inclusive and human. Social media was the perfect outlet. To be honest, I was very reluctant to put myself out there and represent the brand. After much cajoling, it still took me a year to take down the logo that was my avatar and replace it with my own picture. I wanted people to help me with social media, and I tried, because, my God, the time involved in social media. But I knew it couldn't be anyone else. I think the time is gone when companies can buy spokespeople to wear the brunt of their issues. I knew I had to put myself out there. I've now invested countless hours in social media, launching Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Plus accounts, you name it. I've tried Quora, Dig, StumbleUpon, and Tumblr, and I have no idea what I'm doing with those ones. At first, I was really shy, and I completely messed up all the unwritten rules of Twitter, but slowly I got the hang of it. People were pretty forgiving and even helpful when I made mistakes. And now I'm completely addicted to Twitter. I've developed real and strong relationships with parents, customers, and suppliers. I've found suppliers through social media. I do want to note here that although I use social media almost exclusively. I do continue to seek other ways to get my brand out there. I write a letter in the book still every year. I speak at conferences, I write articles, I blog for the Huffington Post, I make media appearances, and I'm looking at publishing. But if it wasn't for social media, I would never be able to do those things. I knew my company touched parents' lives almost every day, so I guess I shouldn't have been surprised by the overwhelmingly positive response to me or a human as a representative of the brand. And I guess I shouldn't have been surprised at the honesty of parents through social media. But in the end, I was thrown. I get asked questions probably every day from parents, ranging from, can you help me find a princess for my daughter's birthday, to how many programs is too many for my child, and to, can you help me find support for my special needs child? And I love talking to these parents. It may also surprise you to know that I speak to dads as often as I speak to moms. Yes, they actually have some child-rearing questions, and yes, there's a huge daddy contingent out there. In many cases, I share my own stories of the ups and downs of raising my own children, and Twitter's there to share my pain and glory. More often than not, these conversations start with a simple question, but end up in long conversations about overall parenting issues. In most cases, I don't know what these people look like, and I cannot tell from the tiny avatar on the screen. I have no idea what city or country they live in, or if they're rich or poor, but it doesn't matter. They have children, and they have questions, and this is where social media has become, in some ways, the ultimate equalizer. I'm there for these discussions when I'm not at carpool, and through these honest, sometimes difficult, and long conversations, my brand is represented by me, a human being, a person who has the same questions and makes the same mistakes, but is trying her best. I'm not looking for a return on investment here. There's a lot of talk of return on investment, and large companies are sort of getting there and trying. One of those companies is Johnson & Johnson. They agree that an ROI can't be measured in the true dollars and cents terms. I think one of their social media directors just stated that social media provides an opportunity to engage with our consumer public and put a human face on the corporation. Those are pretty strong words for large brands now that they're trying to embrace social media. I have to go on a little aside here because I'm not sure I can continue to talk about return on investment without talking about clout. As you may or may not be aware, Clout has recently changed their rating algorithm, and as a result, people found their scores had decreased significantly, and I'm no exception. Except I honestly have no clue how my score got the way it did in the first place. My brand has to be online and in social media. I talk to parents every day through that medium, clout or no clout. What worries me about companies like Clout, who score these interactions, is how people will misuse places like Twitter or social media. With this new algorithm, your score will drop if you talk to someone with a lower score than you. Well, I've already been to high school, and I really don't want to go back. I cannot worry about talking to quote-unquote the right people. Social media is a platform for me to learn and share and commiserate. And as soon as you worry about who you're interacting with and behave differently because of it, you're not using it properly. And I wonder if you're staying true to your brand values. There's no question my brand has grown because of social media, and also no question that I have grown as a business owner because of it, regardless of what my clout score is. The overall concept of humanizing brands is not new. I'm thinking of, obviously, the late Steve Jobs being the face of Apple, Dave Thomas, if you remember, being the face of Wendy's, and now I think even J. Crew's doing it when they promote Jenna Lyons as the face of the brand. Some companies have been doing this for decades. But what is new is that with social media, it's no longer relegated to those with large budgets who can broadcast an ideal image. In fact, it is small businesses sometimes doing a better job online of showing their human faces and personalities than large brands. I'm at the point now where I'm proud to represent this brand. We may make mistakes, we may not be perfect, but we'll always admit it, and people know where to go to get answers. Thank you.